Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have back with us Daniel Wachs with Perpetual Wealth Management, and we'll be talking about the strategic use of leverage in retirement planning. Daniel, welcome back to the program.
Mike, it's good to be back. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah, I know you do a lot of work with the premium finance, and this is an interesting opportunity that you are going to talk about here to kind of collaborate and have strategic alliances with other advisors that help them open doors to, create some of these opportunities for themselves. So talk a little bit about your work with advisors and how does this strategic use of leverage help them with their retirement planning to open up doors to high net worth individuals that they might not have had the opportunity to work with before?
Yeah, I think the advisors I work with, varies, right? I mean, not everyone has, again, the clients that we're working with, the minimum net worth of $5 million, good income earner, and those are not like your everyday people, but most advisors have a couple of those. Some have a lot, but they don't really have strategies or programs that are different and unique that set them apart. I mean, there's only so many investment strategies, only so many, annuities or whatever it is that they can pitch. But, a lot of times, I tell advisors when I meet with them, when I present this to them, what I hear more and more from clients is, wow, this is something, that I've been pitched a lot. I've been pitched a lot of insurance before, but I've never seen anything like this. So it's a differentiator and allows clients, because as we all know in this world, is that the more things that a client does with you, the stickier the relationship becomes. So we're trying to add another service. Plus, there's only, so many things that we can learn. I have a partner that does all my investment management. I don't even deal with it, because I just don't have time to do that. Same with these. Not everyone understands insurance, but they understand investments. So we're helping them open doors. We're providing another revenue stream for them that allows them to introduce a prospect to me and to our team. We do Zoom calls, we talk them through it, and all of a sudden this client does the strategy and the investment advisor makes a six-figure income and doesn't have to do a lot of work, but they do, manage the relationship as well as, providing the person to implement the program. So it works great, but like I come in as a specialist, Mike. So all I tell advisors is, I want you to introduce me as someone that all I do is this. So if I present it and the client says yes, great. If they say no, they're saying no to me and not to you, and your relationship should not be impacted by that happening. So it works great. I mean, plus I really enjoy these clients that I've met, these high net worth people that they're interesting, and and we just educate, Mike. My goal is I want them to educate, and at the end of the day, if they do it, great. If they don't do it, great. It doesn't matter to me. I just want someone to do it because they're educated. They understand as much as they can understand, and then over time they understand it more and more because we meet with them every year and go through the program and renew it and work through the policies. So it's a compliment to their team. And then a lot of times I end up, the clients call me direct, right? And I just then inform the advisor, what's going on, here's what we talked about. So it's been really fun, to do this over the last 15 years.
It makes me think of what type of advisor would be best to kind of have this on their radar, meaning this. Someone that just graduated college, got licensed and thought, oh, I can make a six-figure, commission. Let's do this. No, because you don't have the respect, the rapport, the connections with high net worth individuals. So what type of financial advisor are you looking to partner with that might already have these relationships versus someone that needs to go out there and establish them from ground zero?
Well, I think it's a really good question. I mean, I think that there are some younger people that are really smart, but then, like you said, they're maybe lacking in experience at that point in time. And that's what I feel I can bring to the table is I work with a lot of younger advisors, Mike, that know people that have money, and then they bring me in, and I'm able to provide the strategy, and it makes the customer or client feel good because they're not just working on a multi-million-dollar transaction with someone just out of college. But my kids are a perfect example. I mean, they've interned with me over the time, and they have spent a lot of time in my office listening to Zoom calls, and I'll tell you what, they know the strategy. I would say 99% better than a lot of advisors I work with.
Wow.
I mean, so anyway, but I don't, it's just like anything. Like if I have to have a surgery on my back, I'm going to go to a back surgeon, right? I mean, so
Right.
when they bring me in, I'm a premium finance specialist. This is all I talk about, and this is all I do. So, it's just they position me that, but the advisors that are great are ones that allow, how should I say this? The
To
because
stay
these
in their lane and allow a specialist to do what they do well, and
Yeah,
then 1+1=9.
right, exactly. And but I
Yeah.
also am aware that, Mike, these are probably their best clients, and you don't
Yeah.
just let your best clients talk to anybody, right? I mean, you
Right.
don't want that. So but I understand that. That's why I got to educate them. I got to keep them, informed on what's happening. But the Zoom calls, that we do have been great. And an advisor, you want an advisor that the client respects and will listen to him, because my way I approach, clients, people ask me, how do you get in front of these people? I said, really, it's really simple. I say, Mike, you're a smart guy, and I value your opinion. I have a strategy that I've come across, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. That's gotten me appointment every
Yeah.
single time because they don't even know what
And
they're
and
saying
then
no
when
to.
you bring, like, if the advisor was saying that, and you say, hey, listen, I've aligned with one of the premier experts in the industry doing this strategy. I'm going to set up a 3-way Zoom with us, and then we can kind of all chat about it and just see if it resonates with you. Well, at that point, the advisor doesn't have to know all of the intricacies. He's bringing the expert on, yourself.
Right. And that's where it works very well, because that as we're presenting, and it's like I said, it's not something that happens overnight. I mean,
Yeah.
the goal of my Zoom call, Mike, the first time that if a client's interested, the goal is saying, okay, we need for you to apply with an insurance company and get a medical offer on what it is, because that's what the bank will use to determine, the payments, the collateral, all the situation. I can't even go to a lender unless you're approved for the policy. I don't,
Yeah.
you don't want me to go to a lender if you're not approved for the policy, because we're not going to do anything. I mean, so
Yep.
it makes no sense. So it's a step-by-step process. Insurance first, get it approved. Then we go to the bank and get that approved. But the bank financing is not like your mortgage financing and, jumping through hoops, doing all these different things. I mean, it's pretty quick because it's a secured note, 100% secure. So couple tax returns, investment statements, some liquidity, and the process doesn't take a long extended process. But the same thing happens with the insurance, is that, let's say a client is trying to protect their estate, and they need insurance to discount to purchase it. They're not going to create the trust unless they qualify for the insurance, right? So
Yeah.
there's just a step-by-step process, but spelling that out, the clients, I mean, there's transactions, Mike, that I've worked on, and it's taken 2 years to get them done.
Yeah.
And that was
But
the hardest
let's
part for me
tie
as an
that thought
advisor.
let's tie that thought into relationship, like you touched on, but I want to go a little bit deeper on this.
Mhm.
These are not transactions that you're asking for someone to flip you a referral and I'll split $1,000 commission with you. These are large opportunities, and your focus is to develop a long-term relationship with the advisor so that they have such confidence in you that they're going, wow, this opened up so many doors for me to really serve my high net worth client better. It actually increased their AUM and we sold them a big FIA. But now all of a sudden, when there's a win-win-win, when the advisor wins by looking good and creating that extra revenue, the client wins because this is something they had never thought was a possibility, and now they're seeing the plan come together. And then, of course, you win. Well, why would you want to throw a wrench in the works and mistreat the relationship? Because then it's one and done. You want to develop such a long-term relationship that you can do this once, twice, 3 times a year potentially
Yeah, and
with that advisor.
yeah, that's a good point because I look at it and say, okay, if I'm not adding value, then I'm of no use, right? I mean,
Hmm.
so I've had advisors that, they've got in the door, we put a buy-sell agreement for a company, insured the partner so they, if something happened that they could, raise capital uh, quickly to buy each other out. But that advisor then did the 401k for the company. He sold insurance for, employees at the company. I mean, it got him in to a relationship. And now, I mean, he's in a fairly small town in right around St. Louis area. But I mean, I've gone to golf outings and now he's known as the premium financing expert in that, and all these business owners work with them now. And this was a strategy that he took and ran with it. But I helped him do that, and then he was able to really increase his annuity production, his assets under management. So and I don't participate in those type of sales. Like I said, I focus on if a client does financing, I get paid. If they do anything else, then the advisor gets paid. So I mean,
Yeah,
I,
let's even explore that a little bit. What are some times you've worked with an advisor that you conducted the transaction, like you talk about the premium finance, but then it opened up the door for that advisor to then go back to their client and provide maybe increase the AUM production or sell them a fixed indexed annuity. Have you heard that coming up? What are
yeah,
the benefits that way?
yeah, because I mean the main thing is that the advisor utilized the premium finance strategy as a unique strategy to provide value to his client. And once the client goes through this process and starts to implement it, then they also have other needs, right? So then annuities, income needs for retirement, 401ks for their employees. I mean, so, the sky's the limit, but they just needed to somehow connect with the client. And what's interesting, Mike, is, if someone showed you, the, features and benefits of an annuity, and you're either going to buy it or you're not going to buy it, one
Yeah.
meeting, couple meetings, right? But I tell advisors, I said, listen, if I have 6, 8, 10 meetings with your client, to do all the planning and figure out this finance strategy. And every time I call them, they pick up the phone and they talk to me and we're working through this. That's an intriguing strategy that
Yeah.
someone's interested, right? I mean, so that's the whole process. And then over time, it's just, it's a bigger transaction. So it's important to them. So, we have to do it right. And then, like you said, then the way it wins for me and my team is that the next time they have someone that fits the criteria, then I want them to call me instead of another vendor, and
Yeah.
in across the country.
So let's wrap up with this thought, Daniel. I know that when you're working with advisors, they already know how to sell an IUL,
Mhm.
and they may already have a high net worth client. They might think, oh, well, I'll just go talk to them about a mega size IUL, and I'll go find some lender and I can connect the dots. What are the advantages of working with a specialist like yourself whose sole focus is premium finance for high net worth individuals?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, like we've talked through these different uh, conversations we've had, is that obviously, uh, it's more than just, writing a premium, a check to an insurance company and buying an insurance policy.
Hmm.
That's what it is, but it's now you got a bank involved. Now you usually, because of the premium limits, that we have, that they have to, um, they have to understand that they're borrowing money, how the policy works, and all the other things. So, but I think the main thing, Mike, is that I've been doing this for a long time, and I've seen a lot of different strategies. I've worked with a lot of really good producers, learned from them, learned a lot of different things. So I think the value that I bring to the table is when a client's having a conversation, I'm thinking in my mind, okay, how do we put the finance program into their overall plan? So, with real estate guys, I'll talk about, 1031 alternatives with business owners, buy sell agreements, and then the policy being a form of supplemental retirement in a tax advantage way. I mean, so I'm bringing a lot of ideas, and that's how you keep the interest of the client. And I'll just say, because I've done so many of these, is I always tend to talk in third party. Mike, this is what one of my clients has done before. You're kind of similar to him. This is what he utilized it for. So I'm just giving them ideas to use, and for them to use the strategy and become part of their plan. And that's where it
Hmm.
becomes super effective.
Yeah. Huge point. I guess you're just kind of the thought process of it's a team effort, that you're not looking for, one-off relationships. You are looking for long-term relationships with the advisor. And the only way you can win doing that is if you do a good job for their client, and you would love to high five them 5 years down the road going, look at those 4 clients we worked on together. Everyone's happy. So, that being said, I think if an advisor is looking for opening up some doors to increasing some of their revenue with their high net worth clients without having to go through and learn everything, but partnering up with yourself, what's the best way that they can learn a little bit more and reach out and connect with you?
My website has a ton of resources. www.perpetual perpetualwm.com. So www.perpetualwm.com. Phone number 630-445-1399, 630-445-1399, or emailing info@Perpetual Wealth to get information they need. And one last point, Mike, what I thought as you were just asking those other questions, is a lot of the insurance companies realize that, this is a strategy that, you know, needs to be monitored, needs to, and there's a lot of things that have to happen year in, year out for premiums to get paid. So a lot of insurance companies now are requiring that a person, that specializes in financing go on the application,
Mm,
as part of it. So, a lot of people, may have the skill set, but they still need an intermediary, because, I had to
yeah.
talk to actuaries and, all these other people and show them my strategies. So it just, the success rate of the policies getting funded and banks getting paid back are in the high 90s, 98%, 99%. And a lot of it is because they specialize and have intermediaries or vendors
Hmm.
to work with the advisors around the country.
Makes total sense. Everyone's covered and there's safety and clarity. So that just makes total sense, Daniel. Thank you so much for coming back on. It was a real pleasure chatting with you again today.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate doing this, and it's been fun. Thanks for everything. Appreciate it.
You're welcome now.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.